The SEC Ripple lawsuit seems to be taking a left turn. What does this mean for Ripple? More importantly, what does this mean for XRP investors? Stay tuned to find out. But first, we are giving away $25 at the end of the month to one random subscriber to start on their XRP journey. All you need to do is like the video, subscribe, and comment your thoughts on XRP in the comments section. Welcome XRP Army, let's grow the XRP Lab community by pressing the like button and subscribing to the channel. Ripple had gone through a major backlash when the Securities and Exchange Commission in the USA filed a lawsuit against it in December 2020. In a 7-year period from 2013 to 2020, XRP cryptocurrency witnessed massive growth and apparently amassed $1.3 billion by selling their tokens. That was an insane growth in the crypto scene. But that is when the SEC interfered. The SEC went on to accuse Ripple of failing to register the token sales under the US federal security laws. This does not make sense at first glance. If XRP is being scrutinized for not registering under the country's federal security laws, shouldn't its competitors be brought under the same scrutiny? Also, XRP is a cryptocurrency, not a security. So the question is, on what basis did the SEC file this lawsuit against Ripple? It turns out that the SEC accused XRP of being a security and not a commodity as Ripple intended. The SEC's complaint alleges that beginning in 2013, Ripple raised funds through selling XRP to investors in the US and abroad as unregistered security offerings. Ripple was also accused of exchanging billions of XRP tokens for non-cash consideration, including labor and market-making services. The SEC's complaint also accused two top executives of Ripple, Brad Garlinghouse and Chris Larsen, and alleged that they carried out unregistered sales of XRP tokens worth approximately $600 million for personal purposes. According to the SEC, during all of this, Ripple had not registered its offers and sales of XRP, and as a consequence, violated Section 5 of the Securities Act of 1933. There is a reason why Forbes magazine called this trial the cryptocurrency trial of the century. Financial experts everywhere had called out the SEC's move as an overreach by the regulatory body. In 2015, the US Department of Justice and Treasury had recognized XRP as a currency. But this did not deter the SEC from filing a lawsuit against the company on a vague claim. The conflicting approaches amongst US regulatory agencies show a lack of more organized framework for cryptocurrencies. While permissionless innovation has helped to advance cryptocurrency, regulators will seek new things to regulate as there's no solid framework to check their actions. Ripple has also raised a basic question of due process. The SEC says it has the right to impose billions of dollars in fines over sales that began 7 years before the lawsuit was even filed. Ripple's been trying to figure out why the SEC is not targeting Bitcoin and Ether as well. Like XRP, BTC and ETH are decentralized currencies. Ripple hasn't conducted an initial coin offering or ICO upon launch. Ripple's claims in the court records show that it has never held an ICO, never offered future tokens to raise money, and has no contracts with the vast majority of XRP holders. Another concerning factor in this lawsuit is how the SEC put Brad Garlinghouse as a defendant. Garlinghouse hadn't even joined the company until 2015, and he's been accused in this case during a time period in which he wasn't even part of the company. And in those 7 years, the SEC never provided any clarity over XRP. SEC officials made many speeches and appeared in many interviews in which they were very clear on the classification of Bitcoin and Ether, but they were surprisingly vague on XRP. Things were looking stellar for XRP in the past few months, however. The lawsuit was turning out to be pretty favorable for Ripple and even for cryptocurrency scenario as a whole. But this was up until a concerning turn of events occurred. On June 14th, a presiding judge on the case, Sarah Netburn, gave a nod to the SEC's request to extend the deadlines to investigate Ripple's documents by 60 days. Finally, when things were turning up favorably for XRP, the SEC had to complicate it by dragging the lawsuit out for 2 whole months. Ripple had opposed the SEC's request and had called this delay an existential threat to its business in the United States. This extended delay implies that the SEC gets more time to dig up more info regarding Ripple. The issue we have to be very wary about here is that the SEC, a regulatory body, is left unregulated by the government regarding the crypto space. Until the government charts out a solid framework for cryptocurrency to operate, financial regulatory bodies like the SEC would continue perpetrating this overreach of authority. XRP tokens do not even come under the category of a security, and yet here they are, tangled in a lawsuit filed by an authority, accused of being a security investment rather than a means of exchange. The lawsuit has been affecting the consistency of XRP's value in the past week. On 14th of June, XRP had reached its highest value in the week at $0.9. This is as close as it got to its highest value in the month, which exceeded $1. To be exact, this value was $1.10 on the first day of the month. It hasn't been able to replicate this high ever since. The prices soon fell back to the $0.8 range and hasn't surpassed this range ever since. Even with the inconsistencies, we haven't seen a favorable rise in value since June 14th. XRP is displaying a bearish trend as the week progresses. The prices do fluctuate upwards within 24 hours, but day by day the value is indeed falling. The highest value on June 15th was $0.8971. The next day, on June 16th, XRP's highest value was $0.8797. On June 17th, the highest value fell to $0.8610. This plummeted yet again on 18th of June, when XRP's highest value was just $0.8434. By the end of the day on June 18th, the value fell below the 80 cents mark, which is a concerning trend. XRP hasn't fallen below the 80 cents mark in the month of June. In fact, after hitting a low of 65 cents on 23rd May, XRP made a rather swift recovery in a matter of hours. It has never fallen below the 80 cents mark after 23rd May until June 18th. The value of XRP as of June 18th is $0.796012. What this shows us is that the investors were keen on bringing XRP back up last month, but this interest has faded in the course of a few days. Ripple was right when they called the delay in the lawsuit a threat to its business. Without a doubt, the bearish trend XRP is displaying is because of the delay in the SEC lawsuit, as we can see in its fall in value in the last 2 days. Investors in XRP are probably foreseeing a future where the SEC might actually win the lawsuit. This is concerning not only for the Ripple community, but for cryptocurrency as a whole. Needless to say, we see a glimmer of hope in a tweet by Jesse Hines, a general counsel at Gala Games, who tweeted that even if Ripple loses the lawsuit, the overall effect may be a win for both Ripple and the crypto space. He further tweeted, "So, a result of this lawsuit could be learning that while Ripple sales are investment contracts, secondary sales aren't, meaning that exchanges can relist. Then Ripple will just continue selling outside of the US, and everything will resume as normal." With that, we've come to the end of today's video. Kindly note that prices of cryptocurrencies frequently change, so by the time you watch this video, it might have changed to a whole new value. The information provided in this video does not constitute investment advice, financial advice, trading advice, or any other sort of advice, and you should not treat any of the content as such. The content in this video is for educational purposes only, and hence should not be considered financial advice. Do conduct your own due diligence and consult your financial advisor before making any investment decisions. Do you invest in XRP? Let us know in the comments section. If you want to continue to know about XRP, we've got 2 more videos waiting for you on the end screen to check out. Make sure to subscribe to our channel and give us a thumbs up. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next video, my friend.